Welcome to another night in the NBA. This is your 10-minute recap of the last night of NBA hoops, a night with 13 NBA games. It's the busiest night of NBA action we've had in quite some time now, and there's a bunch of different stuff we could talk about, but I want to start us off with the Nuggets, because the Nuggets lose tonight 106-114 to the Houston Rockets, and it just feels like the Nuggets are completely falling apart. They start the season 9-1 and look like the best team in the league once again. It looks like they're running it up. They're going to be the best team in the West and probably win the title again. But since that 9-1 start, the Nuggets are 5-8 over their last 13 games. A drastic drop off from the team we became accustomed to last season. They've now lost 3 straight games as well, and they're just not the same. It just doesn't feel as good. And a lot of the times, you might tell yourself, oh, it would probably be the defense. They lost Bruce Braun, maybe the defense took a dip. It's the offense. They're not scoring enough. They put up 106 points in this game. That's why they're losing. They're shooting 36% from 3 this year compared to 38% last year. And I know you might tell yourself that's not a huge difference. It adds up. And it feels like they're even more reliant on Nikola Jokic than they have been in years past. Because when he has a bad game, they'll lose. And that's been evident, especially over their last 2 games, as he's been kind of abnormally awful over his last 2 games. The game before this Rockets loss, he goes 9 of 32 in a loss against the Clippers, I believe, and he goes 9 of 26 in this one. One of the players that's historically been one of the most efficient players we've ever seen has just become incredibly inefficient all of a sudden. A 7-foot center putting up these numbers is criminal. It's so bad, especially when the defense isn't, quite what you would want a big man to be. He's like worse Enes Kanter right now is how Nikola Jokic is playing. And it's weird because we've become so accustomed to him being one of the most dominant players we've ever seen, especially offensively. And it hasn't been the case over the past 2 or 3 games. And that's why the Nuggets are losing, because if they're not getting carried by Jokic, it's not going to happen, because it's just not as good around him as you might have on other contenders. Yes, Jamal Murray, all-star guard, all-star level guard, has never made an all-star team, but hasn't looked quite the same coming back from injury. 6 of 17 in this one. He was fine. He wasn't great. Aaron Gordon this season just averaging 13 points per game compared to the 16 per game he averaged last year. And it's not necessarily the guys at the top that are the problem here. It's the depth, because the starters have been solid. They haven't been the main reason, I wouldn't say, but there's no depth here. Reggie Jackson is playing really well to start the year, actually, so shout out to Reggie. This isn't a slight against him, but the team outside of that, they're just getting no depth. They have 7 players who are playing more than 20 minutes a game so far this year. The 5 starters, Reggie Jackson, who's averaging nearly 14 points per game. It's been a really resurgent bounce back year for Reggie, but Christian Braun is the only other one, and I would say he hasn't quite taken the leap many people expected. He's averaging 8.9 points per game. The efficiency's been good, don't get me wrong, but a lot of people expected him to be more of an impact offensively, especially scoring, than less than 10 points that he's averaging right now. Even Kentavious Caldwell-Pope down to 10.8. It just doesn't feel the same as it did last year, and the depth is definitely not there. Once you go past Christian Braun, it falls off a cliff. DeAndre Jordan at about 6 points per game, and it's being inflated by that one really good game he had against the Clippers where they won without all their stars. Julian Strawther is next at 4.9. Justin Holiday at 4.8, Peyton Watson at 4.4. Peyton Watson got a lot of kind of adoration early on in the year, especially for the defense. He's a great defensive player, but 4.4 points per game is not going to do it. That's just not enough if you're going to be out there, especially playing with Jokic, because he gets you easy looks, he gets you opportunities, and they're not capitalizing on it. I don't think the defense is the issue here. It's really the offense, because they're just not getting enough guys that can contribute on a night-to-night basis. And once again, when Jokic isn't there, they're going to struggle. Just looking at their recent losses and the scores in those games. 106 against the Rockets, not good enough. 102 against the Clippers. They did put up 117 against the Kings, which is fine. That's not a huge glaring issue. 86 points against the Rockets and another loss to them, and 109 against the Cavs. And a lot of these losses is just because they're not scoring. They're not getting the offense going, which is just abnormal for a team that was so potent offensively last season, and especially last postseason, as the duo of Jokic and Murray were one of the most dominant pairings that we had seen. Jokic still gets 23 points in this game, but 9 for 26 again is inexcusable, especially for a player of his caliber. And over the last 2 games, he just doesn't look the same. He doesn't look like an MVP. He doesn't even look like an all-star with the efficiency he's putting up. Like I said, he's basically playing like worse Enes Kanter right now. 21 for Jamal Murray, 20 for Michael Porter Jr., who was like the only one who was solidly efficient and put up 20. 8 of 12 from the field. They also get 5 of 6 from Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. But Aaron Gordon, 1 of 5 for 3 points. He has not been the same near all-star player he was last year. And they do get 13 from Peyton Watson in this one, so shout out for that, I guess. But as a team overall, they don't look the same, and there should be some sort of alarm bells going off. If you're looking at the Nuggets, we can't just give them the benefit of the doubt anymore. This is becoming a real problem. Alperen Şengün, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists on 50% shooting. You know, gets called Baby Jokic a lot, but he is the one who took this outcome. And the Rockets go to 10-9 on the year, and they win their first away game of the year in one of the hardest away places to play in Denver, but they get the win regardless. Impressive one for Houston. Really, really solid victory. And there's something wrong in Denver. But now let's shoot around the NBA, look at different outcomes, and try to get an idea of what happened on this night of NBA basketball. So, in other action from around the NBA, we did have 12 other games on the night. Once again, a very busy night of NBA hoops. And let's just go through them one by one, as the Celtics take down the Knicks 133-123 behind a 30-piece from Derek White. One of the better Derek White performances of the season. Super underrated player still. And the Celtics 16-5, the best team in the Eastern Conference right now. The Hornets beat the Raptors in somewhat of an upset. 119-116, 21 points and 13 assists from Terry Rozier, but Scotty Barnes solid despite the loss, a 31-point triple-double. The Magic blow out the Pistons 123-91, as you might expect, 27 for Franz Wagner, and the Pistons lose their 19th straight game. Just awful in Detroit right now. It is almost historically bad places we're getting to with the Pistons, and it's just embarrassing on a night-to-night basis, but the Magic continue a solid start to the year. The Sixers beat the Hawks 125-114 behind a Joel Embiid masterclass, 38 points, 14 rebounds, and 4 blocks. A dominant performance in the Sixers win. The Nets easily handle the Wizards 124-97, 21 points for Mikal Bridges, and Brooklyn moves to 12-9 on the year. They've been really impressive so far, and they look like a playoff team. Bridges, Cam Thomas, Ben Simmons will come back. Nick Claxton's been good for them. I like what the Nets are doing, and despite not really having maybe a true star or a great collection of players. The Cavs beat the Heat 111-99, 27 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 assists for Donovan Mitchell as the Cavs move to 13-9 on the season. The Timberwolves beat the Grizzlies 127-103 to keep their win streak going. 16 points and 20 rebounds, as well as 6 blocks for Rudy Gobert in this W. 17-4, the best record in the NBA. The Thunder beat the Warriors in overtime 138-136. Why did Draymond Green foul Chet on that three-point attempt? That's what sent it to overtime, and the Thunder take advantage. 38 points and 5 steals from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and the Thunder move to 14-7. Just a super impressive start to the year. The Chicago Bulls win their 4th straight game, beating the Spurs 121-112. Kobe White, 24 points and 6 assists, has really stepped up in the absence of Zach LaVine, and the team quietly looks better without him. Victor Wembanyama, 21 points, 20 rebounds, and 4 blocks in the loss. The Kings beat the Suns 114-106, 34 points and 7 assists for De'Aaron Fox, and the Kings moved to 12-8 on the year, look good like they did last season. This is a more experienced Kings team and one that could really push for contention. The Clippers beat the Jazz 117-103, 41 points for Kawhi Leonard. I'd say his best performance so far this season. 11-10 on the year. The Clippers are definitely turning it around, and I'm impressed with how they've been able to bounce back after that rough start to the James Harden era there in LA. The Mavs beat the Trailblazers in the last game of the night, 125-112, 32 points, 10 assists, and 6 rebounds for Luka Doncic. But good news for the Trailblazers, Anthony Simons is back, 30 points and 8 assists for Ant, and he was great in this one. He looks like their franchise guy, I'd say. Him and Shaedon Sharpe, really great as their backcourt duo. We'll see what happens with Scoot. Hopefully he can turn it around. But right now it is Simons and Sharpe in that backcourt for Portland, as they are both phenomenal. Kyrie leaves this one with an injury, reportedly left the arena in a wheelchair. Hopefully Kyrie's all right, but Dwight Powell came down on his leg pretty hard, so we'll see what that ends up being in the long term. But now, as I always want to do, let's get into the last segment of the night, which is the top 5 players according to the Real Sports app. I want to do this to showcase who the best performances came from on any given night and give you a glimpse of the greatness on this night of hoops. Let's just start off at number 1, which is Kawhi Leonard, with 41 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 made threes. SGA comes in at 2 with 38 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists, as well as 5 steals. A 4x5 for SGA. Scotty Barnes with 31 points, 10 assists, 10 rebounds, and 67% from the field comes in at number 3. Joel Embiid at 4 with 38 points, 14 rebounds, and 4 blocks. And then it is Derek White rounding out the top 5 with 30 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 made threes in the victory. But that'll do it for this night in the NBA. Another night in the NBA. Thanks for watching. Think about subscribing. I'm on the road to 12,000 subscribers. So if you enjoy the content, think about sticking around, watching some more daily recaps. But that'll do it for me. So once again, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. I'm Herm. Have a good one.